Now, growling doesn't mean a dog is aggressive. A lot of dogs will growl in play. So don't be concerned if when you're playing with your dog, they start growling. That isn't automatically a sign of aggression. My dogs, they growl when they're happily engaging with me. However, growling with some of those other signs, like seeing the whites of their eyes or their eyes focused, their ears pinned, those three things, not good. That is a dog who is showing you discomfort. However, growling may be absent because a lot of dogs are disciplined for growling, something you should never, ever do. If your dog is not comfortable with the situation, they're unhappy, a lot of the times they will growl. And it could be a low growl. It could be a high that ends up higher. There's different growls. But people mistakenly discipline that, said, hey, why are you growling at that child? And they correct the dog. And you do that enough and the dog will lose their voice, which you don't ever want to happen, because the dog growling is saying, I'm not comfortable with this situation. Please take me out of it. It's your responsibility to get him out of there. Because if you remove the growl, all that dog has left is a bite. The growl is a great indicator to you. So you want to help condition the dog so they are more comfortable in that situation. But for now, get them out of it. Now, when you see resource guarding, as with any problem, there's really three things we can do. Number one, we can ignore it. I promise you, it's likely going to escalate if you ignore it. It's not going to go away because the dog is showing resource guarding because there's a conditioned emotional response to them having a high value reward. When they see whoever, they are going to show you that they're not comfortable with that person nearby. So ignoring, that's not going to work. It's going to escalate. The second thing you can do is you can manage. And a lot of people do that. They know that if they give their dogs big meaty bones, they're going to growl if people walk near them. So what are they going to do? They're never going to give them big meaty bones. Well, sad for the dog, and you have not dealt with that CER. The dog is still going to want to guard their stuff. Putting the bones away might not stop. They're going to find something else to guard. So the best thing to do is train it. And there's two ways of training any behavior, right? Number one, you can punish it. There's likely many dogs out there who people have bullied and suppressed that aggressive response so that they don't show it towards them. That doesn't mean they won't show it to a kid someday, because it's always there. That flame is there. You've just smothered it a little bit around you. And plus, what kind of relationship is that going to make? And plus, you're probably not going to be that kind of person if you're listening to this podcast, right? So that leads us with, we need to create a new CER, one that your dog looks at you walking near them when they have a bone or a great meal or fantastic treats, like you just replaced their bike with titanium. Yeah, your dog probably doesn't want to ride a bike. But you get my drift. They look at you as a dealer of $10,000 gifts. Now, if your adult dog does decide to discipline your puppy, you might not like it. Your adult dog may go make this guttural growl. Ugh. Your puppy may yelp. And you've got to be okay and do not discipline your adult dog. Now, if the puppy runs away and the adult dog keeps growling and chasing it, then you can use your positive interrupter to get your adult dog away from the puppy. What most people would have you do, like the dog starts growling at a child, you would say, hey, what are you doing? Or worse, you might correct the dog. That's actually throwing gasoline on a fire. Your dog is saying, I'm uncomfortable, I'm a little afraid, and you're saying, I don't care, you're not allowed to be afraid. Would you do that to a kid? I'm a little bit afraid. Well, some people do that when they've paid to see Santa. The kid shows them they're afraid and they go, here, take my child. Not really a good plan. If your dog is saying, I'm afraid, believe them. Go to episode 24 where I talk about the distraction index. Increase the distance away. Set the dog up to be reinforced. And then go home and create a plan. What am I going to do in this environment? So again, ignore, manage, or train. The management would be, I'm never going to go near children on bicycles again. That's really out of your control. Not a good strategy. Ignore, take your chances, but there's a lot of reactive dogs around this world with people who took their chances and it didn't go so swell for them. So let's train. And the train is going to be creating a journal for that challenge, writing down what happened, where you were, what happened before it. So were you just in a crowd and a bunch of dogs put their nose up your dog's butt, so your dog was already stressed? Or did you just get in an argument with a parking meter person and your dog could sense that stress and then they went off? Like, what happened before? And what's your plan to counter condition it? So counter conditioning is being intentional about changing the trigger. So if it's something like a child on a bike, what's your dog like with one kid walking? And, build up so that when you see a kid walking, good things happen. We're going to play a game of tug, or we're going to play some hand targets. When you see a kid walking, then when you see a kid skipping, when you see a kid pushing a bike, when you see a kid, and pretty soon a kid is either going to move from fear to ideally innocuous. They might even move to love. Look, Mom, there's a kid. That's a good thing, isn't it? Right? So different can lead to reactive or aggression, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's all about you helping your dog to catalog experiences in a way that is appropriate for their future and well-being, and yours and all the dogs around them.